Hi there. This is a new session. I have Nick Muldoon with me. Hi, Nick.
G'day, Martin.
You took a long way from Sydney, and you've spent at least a weekend and 3 days. How's jet lag?
I'm not over it yet.
Okay. And you're going to go back tomorrow, right?
I'm going to go back tomorrow.
You'll have more of this jet lag
That's right.
back there. Okay, let's talk a little about Atlassian technology. You've been with Twitter in the past. You've been with Atlassian. You've been responsible for JIRA Agile, what was formerly Greenhopper. Who of you knows that? Put a comment in the video, maybe. Tell us a little about what you're doing today with JIRA, Confluence, and other Atlassian.
Okay. So I've been in and around Atlassian products for 10 years now. I worked with
Even with Twitter, right?
Even with Twitter, yeah. I worked with Atlassian for 5.5 years. Then I was involved in the Atlassian products at Twitter and how we got the best use out of them as we were doing an agile transformation there. And for the past 12 months, I've been working on add-ons for JIRA and Confluence.
Like this one?
Like this one here, Easy Agile User Story Maps for JIRA. And really what I've been doing at this business is I've been creating products to sell via the marketplace that would have assisted me in my agile transformation at Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to make, if I was at my role in Twitter coaching teams,
you could use this.
I would use this. I would use this tool a couple of times every week.
As more than 300 other people do.
As more than 300 other people do, yeah. So this is a product that's been available now since mid to late March, and we've seen a tremendous amount of interest in it from agile teams, probably more mature agile teams around the world that want to run story mapping sessions.
Let's assume I was one of those waterfall managers in a big company, and there's those weirdos agile teams around that pop up. And what is this? Explain this to me in plain English language.
Sure. So what we're trying to do with a user story map is understand the various types of customers that we have and what their experience looks like with our product. So if we talk, for instance, the cinema.
A research tool.
It's not a research tool so much as it's a collaboration and communication tool to make sure that everyone understands together. So if we were to build or create a user story map as a team for going to the cinema, we would start by talking about our different customers. We have children under the age of 10. Their parents are going to drop them off. They don't have any money themselves, or they come along. We'd have teenagers. Yeah. We'd have teenagers, and teenagers, maybe they have a bit of pocket money and they can buy their own ticket, and maybe they want to get something from the candy bar. Maybe they have some social media, recommend thing that they do after they've watched the film. Then we have, young adults, like they're out on a date, they've got 2 incomes, they want to have a beer and they want to have maybe dinner before the movie. So we've got these different customer types.
And the story maps tells me the story of the customer getting into my business, doing business with me, getting out of it, talking about it. And
exactly right. And you can do it for a software product or a physical product.
Is it really the A to Z story, or can a user story also be only a tiny part in that?
You could take a small part in it. We've got customers that, I think one of the largest story maps that a customer's told us about is 500 activities wide, which is massive, right? I think that's really big. Like when I think about story maps, I think they're generally probably 10 to 20 activities in length. And that's probably something that one team can look after. But obviously when you bring together a very large experience like for a bank, it's going to be very long, there's going to be multiple teams involved. It's really a program at that point.
What type of customers use that today? Is it like for the big stories or small stories? They're very agile teams that are
It's definitely agile teams, but they're agile teams in big and small companies. A part of the reason for coming to Germany here is we have some very large German customers. Yeah. And it's a great opportunity to meet them. And they're using it in the banking, the engineering, the finance and the insurance sectors. But they're not looking at the entire, customer experience. They're looking at portions of it, depending on their product line, depending on online, offline, retail, physical retail presence versus online.
Okay, let's dive into the product real quick.
Okay, sure.
So we are on the Atlassian Marketplace, on the add-on listing. That's probably the place to go right now to figure out and try it yourself, right?
Yeah, definitely. And if you want to have a quick look around, there's an immediate evaluation immediate demo that you can then have a play around with.
If I don't have an
if you don't have JIRA installed,
let's read out that review. The best way to groom your product backlog, visualize customer journey, create and order the backlog, and estimate work. So when I read this copy, I would also say it's tailored to people who know Agile a little.
Yes, very much
so. If you're this type of traditional manager, let's look at pricing and then you can turn us down and pass it on to your Agile team. What does it cost?
What does it cost? Server or cloud?
Let's look at cloud.
So this is cloud.
So this is the cloud.
$10 for 10 users. It starts at per month, up to $1,000 a month for 2,000 users.
Yeah, okay, but this is a very big instance already.
Very big instance for cloud. Yeah, it's unusual. We haven't seen. I think we've only got one cloud customer that's at that size. That's unusual. Whereas for our server customers, most of them skew towards 2,000 plus users.
Yeah, okay.
They're of those larger customer sizes.
Okay, something between $10 and $10,000.
Yeah.
Let's look at some reviews. Obviously, you're doing a good job from a product perspective. How long is this video? Can you play it?
Yeah, I can play this video.
We're not going to play it for 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
So,
but I mean, people can
that's
go and
probably
check it
a
out.
good starter to look at, right? If I'm starting. Okay, let's stop that. And why don't you just show us what you demo in the video in the software, and
Sure.
I ask you some silly questions.
Okay. So what we're looking at here is a user story map for the Apple TV. Apple TV simply because it's a product that I like and I'm passionate about.
Okay, basically this is a JIRA.
This is a JIRA instance.
This is a JIRA add-on that you've already installed in software. It's probably a JIRA Cloud. No, it's a server version.
This is
right?
a server version.
Okay.
And so you've got the project sidebar down the left-hand side, and if you're familiar with JIRA software, you'd know the backlog, the active sprints, the releases, the reports. And what we add with our product here is user story map. And so we're looking at the story map now, and the story map is a way for a team to create that backlog for the first time. And so across the top here, onboarding, find movie, buy movie, watch movie, and recommend and refer, these are epics in JIRA. And so we can create an epic, and each of these epics represents one activity in our customer experience. And these generally go in a chronological order, from the start of the customer experience to the end of the customer experience.
So you don't want to have 500 epics normally?
Well, some companies clearly do, but I think that's unusual. I think that's fairly unusual. So we could create a customer support epic here, and that would drop a new epic along the top.
And you could drop
and we can drag it to reorder it. We want to say that customer support comes after you've bought a movie.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully you can watch it earlier.
Without a... And so below each of these epics, we have bugs, we have tasks, we have user stories. And so teams will go and create stories that represent
for those
functionality that supports that epic. And
okay, let me summarize here. So what I get from this visualization and firsthand until this point is I get a visual representation of what I would be doing in JIRA either way, creating epics, creating stories, but they're nicely lined in columns and
that's
help
right.
me.
It really takes that flat backlog. You know, if you think of the flat backlog, it's just an ordered list.
Yeah.
Right, top to bottom. It doesn't really give you a sense of the customer experience and what's going on. And so this is a way to have that customer experience across the top, have the user stories below each of those activities or epics, and indeed split it then into the sprints. And so I can schedule my work or sequence my work over sprints or versions
and see
in the future.
What kind of type of phase I'm working on.
Definitely.
Right?
And you know, I can quickly, like if I want to go through and edit my summaries, I can do that from a friend overseas. You know, it's very easy to go through and edit and add estimates. So it's a lot faster for companies to actually, or for teams I should say, to create and edit their backlogs. And obviously, once you've got a whole lot of user stories, you've ordered them, you've sequenced them into sprints, this gives you a good sense not only of where you're going, but how you're tracking as the project progresses. And so what we've found with our customers, I suppose there's two interesting things that I've found so far in chatting with our customers. One is that a lot of customers have started to use the story map as a way to do backlog grooming on a week-to-week basis. So it's not just project inception, it's project inception and the weekly backlog grooming. And the second thing that I thought was quite interesting was that about 30% of our customers use time tracking or time estimates.
Okay.
And I was surprised by that number. I thought it would be a little bit lower and there'd be more story points, but it's about 70% story points, 30% on time estimates. And so I can go down, I can drag something out of my own schedule, drag it into an upcoming sprint. I can
collapse this.
I can collapse these if I want. I can look at it by version instead of by sprint, or I can turn off the view entirely and just have a look at my ordered stories under each of these activities.
How are they ordered now?
These are ordered in terms of rank, and so I can just drag and drop to
global rank.
Global rank, I can drag and drop to reorder them.
What's the difference between this 8 in the box and the gray? Are you still editing that? Or?
That's merely because that's the one that I'm.
You're active in it, okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to turn into a gray. Okay.
That's right. So, yeah.
And this is also like
keyboard shortcuts. You've got all the.
That's not only visualization, but also a very quick way to manipulate the issues, the stories, and so on.
Yeah, it's a very quick way to
actually
groom the backlog.
Only going to show me a certain issue type, like user stories, or will
shows you
subtasks and tasks also appear here?
Subtasks won't appear actually. It's tasks, bugs, stories, features, those standard issue types that you have. But if you want to filter things out, the quick filters allow you to do that. So I only want to see stuff that's unestimated. I only want to see my bugs. I only want to see things that have a dependency on another project.
If I would say that user story maps is something like JIRA Agile on steroids, would you say that's true for some use cases?
I don't want to say that because I think it's very complementary to JIRA Agile. I don't want to say that because I spent years creating JIRA Agile, right? And I'm not trying to.
I hear our customers always come up with new applications that they think are core to their processes, and they're very angry at Atlassian for not building the product the way they think the process goes. You may have already spoken to these customers because I every now and then open up connections to Atlassian product managers, especially for JIRA Agile, and then they get their rant. And it's I do see that this may incorporate just like new ways of dealing with issues in other use cases.
I learned about the practice of story mapping in 2009. I started using it at Atlassian in 2009. I've used it more and more frequently over the more recent past. Like at Twitter, it was unusual if I went a week without running a story mapping session for a team. And the reason that we built it into JIRA is because in the case of Twitter, we had distributed teams. And it was really hard to do post-it notes and sticky notes on a wall when you've got people in Boston and people in San Francisco and people in Seattle. It just doesn't work over the video conferencing. And so
you should look at on the 2018 conference, there were those two guys with the rent touches.
Yes.
And did you see them synchronize those over different places? Like they had two touchscreens, big 55-inch touchscreens. Yeah. And if you take this card and start dragging it, the same thing would appear on the other monitor.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that was really impressive. Actually, it was the first time for me to take out my iPhone and create a video and upload it directly. Normally, we put some cutting and.
Well, so I was meeting with them because I wanted to know.
They probably can do this with that. It's kind of they explained to me that they kind of manipulate the browser, and whenever you do something in the browser, they transfer this simple action
to the other screen.
So the other browser, so you only have what they said is we don't need a lot of traffic, but only latency. So we need the two to communicate, but it's only a couple of bytes that need to be transferred to tell, look, he just drags this until that point.
Yeah.
And it was literally like the guy taking the issue and it would move on the other screen.
That's
seamlessly.
awesome.
It was really cool because it...
I'd love to see the story map on that.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
You should be reaching out to them. Okay. Is there anything else in terms of features that you want to highlight or show here? I can probably deep dive into the issue.
You can deep dive into the issue. I think the statistics are an interesting one. Like if we look at the Epic stats, I can see that, hey, we've got 8 issues.
So the colors mean something on the top, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We've got 8 issues here. We've got 2 of the issues completed, and a total estimate of 24. I think one of the things that's valuable for me as a product manager is having a sense of, if I just turn off that unestimated quick filter, it's having a sense of where are we in a given sprint. Now, obviously, this is demo data, so it's unusual that I'm going to have, in fact, I don't have any story point estimates down the bottom here for sprint 3, but if you look at sprint 1 is in progress. I have 15 story points worth of work I haven't started, 5 story points worth of work is in progress, and 8 story points are done. And the reason that we're providing these statistics is to help teams make sure that they don't overcommit and take too much work on board, and they can get a sense of what is their capacity. So I think the story map is a great way, and more teams are using this as a way to actually go from project inception through to ongoing backlog grooming, through to tracking their progress against a project.
If I am a real JIRA pro, why should I try it out?
Oh, if you're a real JIRA pro, you would have already tried it out. Yeah.
Okay, but I'm a real JIRA pro, and I'm watching this video.
You've got to try it out, because this is the best way for Agile teams to understand their customer, to communicate and collaborate, to actually deliver value to their customers, without a doubt, right? Like it's just so much clearer what we are working on and what we are in service of as a team. Like that backlog that's just in one order, gosh, it gets, you lose stuff, only the top portion of it's ordered. Here, I can actually see what's going on in my sprints, in my activities, my epics, how the estimates, how does it all add up and roll up. The information density is so much greater here. And as a result, the team has much better understanding. Okay.
Let me give the same answer to those who are the waterfall managers. You may have or have not JIRA. If you don't have it, this is basic. So you have to install JIRA in the cloud or on your own server. Then you want to download this plugin. You can try it out for 30 days for free.
That's correct. You can try it out online for free without installing it as well if you want.
Through your link, right? Then you can reach out to Nick and ask him, and possibly or very probably he'll give you an answer on that. And then I buy it through the marketplace, like the JIRA license itself. Right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you're available in JIRA Cloud and on server as well.
JIRA Cloud and on server.
And I can move from cloud to server.
You can move from cloud to server. That's fine.
Yeah. Do you need any additional data or stuff there that will make hassle when I move or something?
No. I mean, the way that the approach that we've taken for building this product is that if you look at it, it just looks like it's built by Atlassian. And that's kind of the reason, because it's built by, 2 ex-Atlassians.
Yeah.
And so we're using all of the regular Atlassian conventions where it just feels like an Atlassian product, and we've done it because there's less friction, there's less cognitive load on people to go from using the backlog to using the story map.
And it's complementary, right? It can still use all the other stuff that Atlassian has built.
Absolutely.
It's just another icon that I can click on to get another view.
Absolutely, yeah. Just above the backlog there.
If you're interested in that, please reach out to Nick. You can do that via Twitter, NJM, I learned, very short Twitter handle. Or there are various support channels that may be better for deep dive questions.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks so much for introducing us to that.
Thanks for having me, Martin.
Cool.
Cheers.